The greatest grinder in Bedwars Practice history. Bedwars Practice has had a lot of grinders come and go. iGlox is about 120 star weeks, iLight got 31 stars in a week, Apathetics gained 33, Unlucky gained 38, and Dboss gained 45. All of these achievements pale in comparison to Cios though, and it's not even close. I made a chart to display the highest amount of weekly stars people have gotten legitimately. This only includes each of these players' highest stars week. Just to be on this list, you have to be a top tier grinder. In fact, 2/3 of the players on this list have been on the leaderboard at one point in time. Near the bottom, we have some good weeks from people like Bonanzaman, XYZI, Drip, and many more. This also includes some very old players that quit a long time ago, like Acfi, Badcat, and Derpies. Moving up, we see only the best grinders, people who have gone 3 stars a day for an entire week. This list includes Exora, 5nub, me, RyGamer1, Milby, and HighGuy333, who gained 23 stars worth of XP in the first week of Bedwars Practice star system. He was also the first player to reach 25 stars on the server. Going higher, we have only the best of the best grinders, with iGlox, the current #1 player, iLet, 4th place on both leaderboards and rising fast, Melomore, who peaked at 6th place, but is currently sitting at 8th or 9th place depending on when this video is released, and Antix, who is on track to becoming a leaderboarder in the next few months. Going even higher, we have all-time historic weeks. We have Apathetics' 33-star week, Unlucky's 38-star week, Dboss's 45-star week, and Valkyrie's 37-star week. Considering Valkyrie is Cios' ult, this shows that Cios was a top 3 grinder even on their ult account. But wait, we're missing somebody. With a total so astronomically high, it doesn't even make sense. A total so legendary, people shrugged it off as a boost in achievement, even though it was far from that. 75 stars in a week. A total 5 times large as the people at the bottom of the list, and this wasn't even the most surprising thing about him. Cios started his venture around 7 years ago when he was an innocent Hypixel player new to Minecraft. As every new player in 2015, he b-hopped on people in Skywars for a few years, and then switched to Sumo, where he proceeded to cheat without any punishments. Then the Sumo tournament happened, which was a huge disaster because everybody was a cheater there, including Cios, but he was good at being a cheater because he was able to beat all the other cheaters and win the Sumo tournament. And then he got banned and realized that cheating is bad, and using cheats to reach certain points isn't nearly as satisfying as doing it legit. After he got unbanned, he messed around with Bedwars, but ultimately got bored after prestiging. So, he went back to Sumo, legit this time. He quickly started amassing hundreds of wins every single day. He hit godlike X in Sumo and kept going. He started his trek up the leaderboard, going from nothing to 3rd place on the leaderboard in a matter of months. He has an insane 10.88 win-loss ratio, despite Sumo being a cheater-infested game mode. All of his wins brought him to 20th when it comes to wins for all duo players, and he was still going. He set the world record for daily Sumo wins with 2,100, and then, as abruptly as the Sumo career started, it was over. Cios decided the toxicity and cheating surrounding him as he played Sumo made him become somewhat of a toxic player himself. Not wanting to resort back to cheating, and wanting to stay a chill dude, he quit Sumo forever. His legacy still lives on though. For a year after he quit, he still rests on 10th in Sumo wins and 57th in duels wins. And Cios, being a fan of Telly, since he had around 3,000 subs, started trying to godbridge with his free time. He played on a server called Anti-AC, where he learned how to dragclick, but sucked at godbridging and telebridging. Then, one day, a friend told him about reducing, and it was love at first sight. He decided to take his talents to Bedwars Practice.club, where he would become the legend of the game. In the first week of playing on the server, he made a bet with a mod that would get him master rank if he got 200 stars in a month. The mod obviously meant this as a joke, but Cios took it personally. This was when he started playing Stick Fight, for it's best suited for his playstyle and also gave a lot of XP if you were good, and Cios was really good. Considering he had April break for the next week, he had all the time in the world to grind, and that is precisely what he did. He played from 14 to 18 hours every single day for a week, pushing the human limit when it came to grinding. He played non-stop in that week, going from a low star to a top 50 player. In the midst of all this, RyGamer1, an aspiring guildmaster, recruited Cios to the guild Gamer, based on how much XP he was getting so fast. If you're familiar with the modern state of Bedwars Practice Club, then you know that RyGamer1 is the most successful guild owner in the server's history, with the #1 and #2 spot in the guild leaderboard. You can't just own the top 2 guilds by accident, and part of the success was recruiting grinders in their prime, such as Cios. During this insane period, Cios racked up a record for the most stars gained in a week, legitimately by far up to that point, beating the old record set by HighGuy333 in the first week of the server by mind-boggling 52 stars. And not only that, but Cios still holds the record by a lot to this day, and it's not even close. Now you might be thinking, he cheated in the past, and he was probably cheating then too, and to that, you would be wrong. This historic week happened back when Bedwars Practice staff would screen share people if they found them suspicious of cheating. And considering Cios clicked a flat 30 CPS for 16 hours a day, he became a prime suspect for screen sharing. Within his historic 75-star week, he set a record for most times to be screen shared in a week, at 8. He got screen shared so much that he got put on a super secret screen share whitelist, which basically meant that the staff would get ready to screen share and then realize it was Cios and move on. He was one of the all-time greats on this list, with people like Teitelbaum and anyway, after his first week, he nearly gave the mod a heart attack and decided to slow it down before he accidentally killed somebody. He still played and soon became one of the first 25 people to hit level 100 on the 2nd of May. He also became one of the first staff members in the Gamer Guild and a very OG player in the gamer community. Then he played somewhat consistently, becoming a leaderboarder for 5 days before Blums knocked him off. At around 110 stars, he quit Bedwarspractice. Practice. A new server hosted by Cios' friend started up called Meteocraft. Cios became a manager but didn't really do much.
I mean, yeah, no, okay, if at all, you're always gonna stay manager. You can keep your fancy name title and stuff, I'm fine with that, but you only get paid if you work on stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine, but I never actually wanted money. The whole point of me getting money from the server was to give it back to the server.
That's fair. And that's same for me, honestly. And I think we both have that same, level of thinking.
He played a lot of Meteocraft over the summer and became one of the top players on the server before getting bored and coming back to bedwarspractice.club. He went from 110 stars to 128 stars very quickly on his main, but ultimately decided to switch to an alt, Valkyrie. RiotGamer1 immediately knew what was going to happen and invited Valkyrie to Gamer 2, a new up-and-coming guild that I have an entire video about. In poetic fashion, Valkyrie was one of the first players in both guilds on 2 different accounts, greatly contributing to the success of each of them. A lot of the new players didn't know who he was, but that quickly changed. He would get 300 daily win streaks in stickfight as if it was nothing. He debuted by getting a 20-star week, a 29-star week, a 36 and a 37-star week. All of this would be barely enough to break the old monthly star record, which was held by Cios. He would stream for 9 hours, dragclicking the entire town without caring in the slightest. He would have days where he would get 7, 8, 9, or even 10 stars in his 37-star week. Some of this was during school rather than when he was on break, as if it wasn't already crazy enough. Apathetics went all out for the 33-star week, which was already crazy enough as an accomplishment, but for someone to average 30 stars for an entire month is crazy. One of the reasons why I started playing a new account rather than just grinding his main account was because he wanted to get godlike stats. And while there wasn't a built-in win-loss ratio, Cios recalled losing to a legit player around 10 to 12 times out of 10,000 wins. In fact, he was so good, he would play stickfight 2v2 with his alt account and 1v2 everyone on his main so he could get all the kills. Another reason why he stayed was the game mode leaderboard system, where it displayed who got the most daily and weekly wins in each game mode, and on top of that, it also showed the top weekly and daily win streaks in each game mode. And of course, Valkyrie went to work. During his 36-star week, he amassed over 4,000 stickfight wins, which was the second most wins in any game mode, in any category, following Cios, his alt account. Sadly though, he experienced a bunch of kicks and cheaters and got a max win streak of 500, which I would take any day, but Cios was a different breed. Rather than being discouraged by his overwhelming win streak onto his standards, he decided to just do it again. And the next week, he destroyed the record for highest weekly streak in any game mode, let alone stickfight, at 3,300 before he lost to somebody. Hyglocks and GUIGod are arguably the best stickfight players on the server, and yet they lost a 2v1 to Cios, further displaying his dominance over the reducing scene. At the time, if you add the stats of his 2 accounts, he would be 2nd place on the weighted wins leaderboard and 3rd place on the star leaderboard, yet was on neither. But just because he wasn't on the leaderboard doesn't mean that he wasn't a consistent grinder. To illustrate this, I made a variation of the chart that you saw at the beginning of the video. This chart shows every single 15+ star week by anyone on the server. A lot of the players on the first chart were good grinders with multiple 15+ star weeks. Most of the top players on this list were top grinders. Apathetics, one of the most famous grinders, got 5 of these weeks. The number 1 and number 2 player in star level also had 5 of these weeks respectively. Cios had 5 of his own, and Islet and Melamore have the record of 6 15+ star weeks, being known as the newer grinders. But if you include Cios' 15+ star weeks, Cios and Valkyrie in total has 8 15+ star weeks, demolishing the record. But something you may have noticed is that a lot of the people with 5 15-star weeks had a lot of weeks from 15 to 20 stars. So I made another graph which just shows 20+ star weeks, and this graph makes everything much more clear. You have to be extremely dedicated to get even one of these weeks. Extremely talented leaderboarders can't be found on this list, such as PS1, Novo, and Drip. Despite Blums having 5 15-star weeks, he only has 1 20-star week, and I myself have only reached this coveted achievement once. Apathetics, Iglocks, and Melamore have 3 20-star weeks, and Isla has 4. And Valkyrie has 5. And including his other account, he has 7. Way higher than anyone else. It is an understatement to say that Cios was the best grinder of bedwarspractice.club. If we look at any star value actually, Cios has the most of that week. He has the most 15-star, 20-star, 25-star, 30-star, 35-star, 40-star, 45-star, 50-star, and all the way up to 75 stars. Thanks to Cios and RiotGamer for supplying with a lot of the information. Their channels will be linked in the description. And that's the legend of Cios.